Welcome to this session. We will have quite interesting presentation, I believe. The first one is a keynote presentation. The presenter will be Uroš Novak from National Institute of Chemistry from Slovenia. And the title of presentation is Developing Safe and Sustainable Hydrophobic Textile Coating Materials Through Design, which is a natural, renewable solution to mitigate the toxicity of polyfluoroalkyl substances. Uroš, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you for presentation. So let's wait for the slides. Okay, this is on, this is working. Okay, hello everyone. The title is quite scary, but just to keep it simple, I will talk about the pathway. So it's not just what we do, it's the problem, what we can do, what we are facing with the challenges, and how we are solving it. So we are not at the end of the path, we're not at the beginning of the path, but we are here to communicate what we have achieved. So the work was done more or less from my teammates who are part of the ProPlanet project and also students. Problem overview. So the problem is because recently FAS was recognized as a toxic and hazardous compound, and basically it's everywhere and so on. And this is what our mission is as a scientist. So we always tackle problems, and sometimes the problems are based on the needs for a solution. So in the ProPlanet, we propose a natural-based substitute based on the biopolymers, renewable sources, and so on, to make a hydrophobic coating for textiles. As you can see here, FAS can be used for different applications, but since you have to be a little bit more into focus, so the textile is the one having 50% of the world's FAS use. So always you have to think, okay, why you choose nature? Some example, hydrophobicity in nature, you all know. But since nature is that good and it's part of the million years of evolution, can we repeat it? And this is be like my way trying to tell you that the nature still beats us at this point. So still, the lotus leaf, bird feathers, butterfly wings, those are very hydrophobic and all hydrophobic substances in nature. So what is our goal? What we have to achieve is basically what we did most of the time is to measure the water contact angle of the surface. So if the water contact angle is above 90%, is hydrophobic. How? We try different approaches. First part of my presentation will be giving the big overview, what is the real needs of the industry, where our pieces come to play. And at the end, I will show all the lessons learned through the path. It's not just like one experiment and we achieve something. No, it's a whole learning path. This is where we are now. So untreated fabric, we use cotton as a base. As you can see here, we have already developed, this is our coating under microscope. You don't see it's coating, but it's working. So one of the requirements was that the coating should be very, very thin, so in micrometer scales. Definitely, we have achieved this in multiple ways. I will explain you later. We're not tackling all the problems with inspiration by nature, so butterfly wings, lotus effect, and so on. So you can forget all those other stuff that using FAS. So let's focus just on the textile endpoint. So if I'm telling we're replacing FAS, we're not replacing it for non-stick cookware because the polymers cannot take that much heat, let's say, or coating, so already. So this is our materials that we play with. So starting with natural biopolymers. Natural biopolymers are the one who are not man-made or synthetically made. They're made by the nature, by the organisms, and we are just extracting it. However, we also do some chemical modifications. These, by the classification of the European Commission, do not count as a natural biopolymer. It's a synthetic polymer. And it has different parameters. So, but, you know, it's always, these problems occurs when something is very good, very popular as plastic and fast. And then we see, okay, business is working. We cannot imagine our life without it. So maybe we need alternative. And these alternatives are usually pushed by the legislation. So legislation, especially in Europe, will be quite harsh towards those kind of chemicals. This is the motivation. This is our promise in the ProPlanet project. So synthesis of cross-linked biopolymer oil wax microcaps in polysaccharide matrix. You know, the title is like big, but big is with a reason to encounter all the possible barriers. So there is not one winning combination as FAS is. This is what we learned. This is already well known. I will show multiple examples later. And this is where we are trying to do. So this is what we used before. So we have some already some know-how on the textiles coatings before. However, it was not benchmarked with the industry. And it was quite, let's say, on the first ball. So it was like a master thesis style. Then we focus a little bit more. So structure, just how the natural biopolymers behave. Waxes, because waxes, we know, have these hydrophobic properties. But combining with the material as cotton, which is cellulose, hydrophilic, it's difficult. So we have to also think not that the material, the coating itself is working, but coating have to be connected and durable on the final application. Then we use some solution from the paper industries, AKD, alkyl ketone dimer formulations. Then we try a modification of natural biopolymer, then bio-based microencapsulation. And also, I will also talk about commercial formulation. So since there's push with the legislation to ban FAS, there are already some market alternatives to FAS. So I'll also show those. This is formulation, this is how we tested our parameters. I will not go into deep, but as you can see, we try to already work with end users in mind, for example, application methods, preparation, and so on, because everything is evaluated at the end through economy, resources, or toxicity. Here, for example, this is what we also do in the ProPlanet project. We have defined the properties that needs to be achieved by our coatings. And we took into account not just the industries, which probably have their own interest, which is the property of the product, and the customers, like end users like us, are satisfied with the product. So it's still not changing anything, but that we can enjoy our life without being wet in the rain and so on. Of course, there is also other characteristics, the substrates, stability indicators, toxicological requirements, and cost-effective requirements. All these are now being tested on some selected best options that we have. At this point, we are at the halfway of the project, which is 18 months, so 18 months still to go. So we are now here in the way to do the scale-up. Scale-up means that we will come closer to the real demands on the market, and our end user is the company who is producing the the coatings for the end users, for the industry. This is how our best formulations looks. We reached the quite high contact angle. We also tested with washing and so on. This is the first test. Honestly, the industry was quite surprised what we can do with just nature-based solution biopolymers. And all this have the requirements that the thickness is in micrometers. You have to also learn one trick, for example. If someone will sell you its completely natural material, done in the lab from agar, alginate, chitosan, and so on, and had hydrophobic properties. Hydrophobic properties also come when the material is very thick, which means that is the water contact angle per se. It's not the right method to measure. Maybe dynamic contact angle, other measurements will be tested. I will show it later. So this is also that needs to be counted. Okay, this is now further development now. So as you already see, now we are testing the combination. How our coatings can be very well applied in the real material. So what industry use? It's the is the cross-linker, so helping bind something that it has all of hydrophobic properties with the material. This is done already by the company, and you can see here, this is our baseline. This is the fast commercial phases, and this is commercial available ones. What I want to point it out is that we have hydrophobic properties, but the fast is the only one who have excellent hydrophobic and oleophobic properties, so repelling both water and oil. In the project, we have to repeat it. So none of the other commercially available fast substitutes do not have those properties. And when we tested with mixtures with our one of the selected bio-based coatings, we achieved a little bit increase in those. So what my team is now doing is working on that part. So we have achieved this, it's quite good, so on. So we are now working on the oleophobic properties. This is also what it's now going on. So really go into details how the industrial process looks like. What are the real requirements on the market before, okay, in lab, I synthesize something, it works, and then you have, okay, all those details questions. So we are working with cotton and the polyester as mostly used textiles and so on. There are also like different others, but still, this is something that it's now tested with our coatings. Yeah, it's not that simple when you go to the market, but more or less, this is something that I can also share it with you. So this is the machine that we're using now. This is the machine that will be upscaled for the coatings. But here is very important that based on the legislation or recommendation at this point, is that the recommended concentrations for fluorine, it's not zero. So basically, there are already some negotiations going on that, okay, still some can be there. And you can see if you measure the concentration of total fluorine content, this is for fast, for example. This is recommended concentrations of fast, so you have to have quite a lot of concentrations. And you can already see if you reduce the concentration from 40 to 10, you're not reaching the quality anymore. It's not having the same properties. Its properties are not good enough for the market. And more or less, if we can see here, what's surprising is that also the pure cotton material that was tested also have fluorine content in it. So more or less, fast-free at this point is more or less an illusion, because all the small steps, all the additives that I'm showing here, before getting the fabric and doing the coatings, already can have some fast in it. And sometimes this also avoids the legislations because it's not requested. So this is the work package, the last one. And here we don't have these tests are provided by our industrial partners, and we are not here complicating with science anymore, but just like, okay, this is how the test should look like, and so on. So it's quite basic test, but it should work. This is something that at the end they're just testing your clothes and something that it's that it's related to it. Those are the standards and so on. So all the science at the end is just that we are measuring the drops and how this then are attained on the surface. So this is good. This is not that good. So basically, it's how they feel. So yeah, just talking about the problems, I guess. So it's like about the solutions. But yeah, so what are the solutions? In the labs, there's always simple ways to do it. We're not complicating and so on. How to make bio-based coatings? You need those four stuff. Basically, you need a scale, you need some mixer. You can do it at home, basically. Then you have we have different options to put it on the textile. I showed before 3 options, and then also maybe some drying and so on. So it's not that difficult to do a lot of tests. Then different types of formulations. So for spraying, for rod coating, for dip coating. This all depends on this also then needs to be defined in terms of the properties that is needed. For example, high viscous chitosan cannot go to the sprayed coating, can go here. This is why we are working with multiple solutions, achieving quite high water contact angles, and trying to fit the specific needs, for example. For example, dip coatings, it's coated on both sides. Here, it's on one side. Still, and this is all standards on. So, how much time I have? In 5 minutes? Okay, so lessons learned, I think it was like more than 500 different experiments and so on. So yeah, so now I will go through it more or less just to have the feeling what my team was doing in the labs behind and so on before we are coming, that we are ready to talk with the industry and make a fine-tuning with them. Definitely here, most of the stuff is written here. For agar, if you use agar, you have to always have higher temperature, that it dissolves in water, which means a lot of energy and so on. And the properties are not good if you're not mixing with AKD, so alkyl ketone dimer. This is used in the paper industry, and it's approved as a that can be used. Here is the formula, and you can see here on cotton and the polyesters, this is working more or less. Different types of experiments, also with alginate we tested. Alginate always requires the plasticizer or glycerol that you add to it, and different concentration of the AKD. As you can see, you see the jumps. So basically something is really happening. Something makes here for us to go deeper and to understand why is this happening. Why? And this is something that I already showed before. With nice example, there should be enough concentration of these hydrophobic compounds, especially on the surface when it's in contact with the liquid, that it can work. Sometimes it's also that it's like need some other assistance. For example, here we're using nanoparticles. This was part of one PhD done at University of Ljubljana. Then this person come work in my group, so I'm very grateful that we have her. And this was part of her PhD. She worked with zinc oxide, but zinc oxide then was here now mixed with our biopolymer solution also here. So the size will matter. So, and also to understand why, it's that we add, with zinc oxide, we add, how to say, increase the roughness of the surface. So that's the point here. Also, we can play with the roughness and so Okay, natural wax. So you see very complex formulations at the beginning, and then we try to optimize it and so on. The wax is a problem, so try to work with, I know you all have experience with some types of wax, but wax is very difficult to work with, and especially that it's like very nicely homogeneous distribution on the surface and so on. So here's an option also with chitosan, which was modified. This is also part one of our PhD thesis. This was done by Anna Oberlindner. Definitely we can play around also to help nature to also build a hydrophobic functional group on the polysaccharides, which are usually very hydrophilic. This can be done. Of course, this is also additional step in the process, costing money, and also have different chemicals involved. So here we work with dip coating. As you can see here, we have quite a lot of stuff that we have to learn. We do a lot of testing, so we tested almost everything that came into our mind that can help us. And here are the successful ones that we work further. Microencapsulations, here we can play with two parts. So the cover, so the wax is inside of the biopolymer shell. And this helps us to, as you can see here, to have then nice distribution on the surface. If we just put microcapsules on the surface, we don't have any water content. We have to activate them. Activated means heat press, and then you see here how it's then distribute this wax. I think it was the bee wax in this case. And microcapsulation, it's a company in Slovenia who do this already. So it's like already on the scale that you can buy. So you don't have to do it and test it in the lab. This is a PhD topic now from another student. Here we are focusing with AKD and the cotton. I will just not to be too long, explain maybe here morphological properties. For example, if you put too much agar and so on, these properties can be like hidden, because we believe that this is, this roughness is part of the AKD, and this is like the smooth surface from the polymer. So basically, we have to now think how to the best address it to have something like this. Physical properties. Here is maybe very some important factor for the textile users: air permeability. So how our coating is affected. So it's reduced, which it's something that we can expect since we are doing something on the surface. So we are reducing the permeability of air because we are like, let's see here, clogging those interspaces between the textile. Yeah, this is expected. I think we didn't test it how it's with FAS, but we also believe that it should be the same. So it's not that it's something new. Mechanical properties, also very important. I think here it was not much changed. But more or less, as I was showing before, the textile before goes to the coatings, also go through different treatments and so on. So the coating itself, on the we have, I think it's 30 micron thickness, and when it's pressed, this goes inside the fabrics. It's even less thickness. So I think the properties here from the coating should not be due to the coating should not be affected that much, but more or less through the chemical reactions and so on that it's going on the surface. And it's very important, and this is also very difficult to get, through all the 4 years of experiments, the same batch of textiles, because also the textile changed, the cotton changed, the cotton quality and so on. It's also some parameter which can affect here. So this is why we have, I think, quite a lot of 20 meters of each fabric there that we can see that. Chemical stability, so how is in the acid, we tested in acid. We have great success, the water contact angle stays except for agar, and also here, which is still something that we need to maybe repeat and think where was the mistake, because we didn't expect that, we cannot explain at this point. And also here, for example, for the weight loss, it's also very minimal, since the thickness of the coating is very minimal. So washing, of course, what we do with our clothes, we wash them, because otherwise it's not good for the people. So this is also very, very important factor. And also here we reach quite a good success. This is what we are afraid of, but our coatings are still good enough to go to the next round, also going to these tests. Also the rubbing and so on. That's my conclusion, so I think I'm on time. Yeah, okay. Okay, so people often overlook this simple answer, thinking that only a complicated solution will solve the problem. So why I'm saying to this, because whatever we do, what we learn, so basically what we learn is, if we do not need to complicate, we will not complicate. We will just look for inspiration in nature, okay, what is accessible and on the market already, and then try to build to our scientific knowledge. What we also did, we will put a lot of papers out from that, so we also bring something to the scientific library of knowledge. And also we are planning to publish also all the results that are not good, let's say. Will not probably publish, but still it's not probably like accepted as something that will be used, but still it's a training, and we have to bring some knowledge to the society. So with that, I thank you for your attention, and I look forward for some questions.
My name is Marinka Malko-Krami. I'm calling from the construction industry. But some time ago, we did this hydrophobic coating for the facade claddings and connected with the virus activity. So my question here is, because what we saw is, if you have hydrophobic coating, it's easier to wash down the microorganisms, but the durability was a big issue. Like after 3 months, the coating vanished on the exposed outside. So my question here is this: what is the actual durability of the coating? Did you try something? I saw some mechanical tests.
Yeah, we are. So the idea is that so the benchmark to withstand 1,500 washings. So this is like a simple test that we can do in the labs. Definitely, you have to also think that also fuss is the one who is degrading and coming out of the clothes. So what we are now thinking, and we will maybe work a lot on this small detail that you pointed out, is how to retain this, because if it's not some kind of attachment to the fabric, then it's just the time, how much it's needed that, or how much washing that this slowly goes away, because we cannot measure, because the concentration is so small. Honestly, we cannot measure it. We tried, but it's at the moment we're like discussing how, because it's like in micrograms or even less during the one wash, and then it's you will see reduce the properties. So as you explained before, so this is something that already is with FAST. So basically, we will not be here brave enough and say, okay, we will be better than that.
Just if I can add another thing also. Usually it was used in the facade for fight microbial attachment. But actually, when we put hydrophobic, the microorganism really like it. You get more staining, which is easier to wash, yeah. But we don't have such problems in textile microorganisms feeding them with our clothes.
I think yeah, I imagine it will be more challenges and discussions. Maybe I will just have one small question regarding the raw materials you are using. As you said, the cotton's quality is changing. What about this coating? Because when you have these very small amounts, can you ensure the quality remains similar for the coatings?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It depends which parameter are you following and which criteria you want to meet. Definitely, if you work also in the lab and if you're a scientist, you know that for the experiments, if you buy a new chemical from different producers, especially for the biopolymers, you don't get the same results, basically. So this is something that we will definitely try to address in the way that, okay, we have some, through the science, of course, that we have very nice characterization of our polymers, that we know what is happening to it. So this is what we can do the best.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Are there any more? Maybe then, thank you once more for the interesting presentation. Yeah, and we move on.